the Rambler Network.
I'm Trevor, and in this episode, I'm talking about the Star Wars Prequel Trilogy. In the last season, I talked about the original trilogy, and just like with the MCU, I'm going to make this a seasonal series, or at least for one more season, because, there's only one more trilogy after the prequel trilogy. Anyway, so after George Lucas did the original trilogy, there were speculations that he was going to do another trilogy. Everyone thought he was going to do a sequel trilogy, but he had always said in interviews that when he sat down to write Star Wars, he sat down and was like, "Who is Darth Vader?" And he wrote down Anakin's story just for himself. He was like, I am never going to make this into a movie. I just want to get this written down. I want to know who this character is. Where are they coming from? And then he shelved it. And then years later, he was like, you know what? Let's make that into a movie. Of course, it's not what we got isn't what he wrote, because he's changed a lot of things. The original version of the story was Anakin was a separate character. Darth Vader did kill Anakin Skywalker, and that "I am your father" plot twist was a plot twist to everyone, including the guy in the suit, because that's not what he said. But yeah, I've already covered that in the original trilogy episode. This is the prequel series. This is the prequel trilogy. I think the Star Wars prequels are kind of like that band you made fun of in high school, but secretly had on repeat in your headphones. You just couldn't let anyone catch you enjoying Attack of the Clones. And yet, here we are. 2 decades later, with the internet collectively rebranding Anakin Skywalker as a misunderstood softie and memes turning every awkward line into ironic gold. But let's not kid ourselves. The Star Wars prequel trilogy, The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, it's always been more than just meme fuel. Whether you grew up with the originals or the prequels, they've left a mark. A weird, clunky, politically dense, lightsaber spinning, lava fighting mark. So today, I want to take a look back at the prequels. What they got right, where they wobbled, how Revenge of the Sith in particular sneaks in with the emotional weight of a Shakespearean play. Because, seriously, that movie gets dark. So let's start at the beginning. The Phantom Menace had the impossible job of opening this trilogy. Say what you want about trade routes and midichlorians, but it gave us Duel of the Fates. A young Obi-Wan Kenobi with peak Padawan sass, and the space devil himself, Darth Maul. Did 9-year-old Anakin say, "Yippee!" one too many times? Yes. Did it feel like the Galactic Senate scenes were a dry run for C-SPAN in space? Also yes. But there was ambition there. This epic story trying to paint the fall of the Republic, the slow corrosion of democracy, and the rise of a fascist regime, all disguised in a movie about pod racing and space wizards. By Attack of the Clones, things got moodier, the galaxy's shifting, the Jedis are stretched thin, blind to the gathering storm, and Anakin, now a teenager with a rat tail, starts unraveling. His lines or wooden, sure. But Hayden Christensen is quietly laying the groundwork for the fall we don't fully understand yet. It's a story about someone craving control, validation, and love, but not knowing what to do with any of it. Palpatine knows. Oh, he knows. That's what leads us to Revenge of the Sith. Now we're in Shakespeare territory. A noble warrior falls, not because he's weak, but because he's desperate, because he's been lied to. His own order never really knew how to help him. It's Othello with lightsabers. It's Macbeth with lava. It's Hamlet, if Hamlet just force-choked Ophelia and then helped destroy the Danish parliament. Anakin's fall isn't sudden, it's a slow burn. George Lucas may have had clunky dialogue, but thematically, he knew what he was doing. Anakin's story is a tragedy in the classical sense. His fatal flaw isn't anger, it's fear. Fear of loss, fear of helplessness, and Palpatine feeds that fear like a parasite. The Jedi Council, for all their robes and wisdom, is too rigid, too dogmatic. They sense the darkness, but their own detachment becomes their blind spot. They don't help Anakin, they isolate him. And so, when he chooses Padme over them, it's not just love, it's survival. His warped, desperate idea of it. And Padme? Don't even get me started. She starts the trilogy as a queen and ends it dying of a broken heart, sidelined by a story that was never truly hers to begin with. It's tragic in all the worst ways, because her fall isn't to the dark side. It's to the margins. And yet, she's the emotional core of that movie, the one that sees Anakin becoming something she can't follow. And then there's that line, "You were my brother, Anakin! I loved you!" It's pure Shakespeare. Obi-Wan's not angry, he's heartbroken. He didn't win that fight, he lost Anakin. The galaxy loses a hero, and in his place rises Darth Vader. Part machine, part regret, all tragedy. It's wild that this movie, marked as space fantasy for kids, ends with a child-murdering protagonist, a coup, the disintegration of democracy, and a funeral while a baby's being hidden from a genocidal empire. Like, holy crap, George. But maybe that's why Revenge of the Sith endures. It sticks with you. It doesn't just set up the original trilogy, it recontextualizes it. When you watch Vader now, you don't just see a villain. You see what he used to be. You see the fall, and the loss, and the pain. And that's the power of tragedy. Not to glamorize the fall, but to mourn it, to understand it, maybe even learn from it. It's also worth remembering these movies weren't always beloved. When they first came out, the prequels were kind of the galaxy's punching bag. Critics tore them apart, fans mocked them, and poor Hayden Christensen probably had to delete his MySpace comment section. People were expecting the magic of the originals, but instead got Senate hearings and space lizards. But then time did its thing. A new generation grew up with them. And more importantly, shows like the Clone Wars filled in the emotional gaps. They gave Anakin and Obi-Wan more depth, made the clones actual characters, and turned Order 66 into something gut-wrenching instead of just shocking. The series made Padme sharper, Ahsoka a fan favorite, and the whole era feel full, like it mattered. And suddenly, the prequels weren't just misunderstood, they were essential. Not flawless, not redeemed by nostalgia alone, but finally seen for what they were trying to do. And honestly, that's kind of amazing. Anyway, the prequels, they were never perfect, but they tried something bold, and if you can look past the sand, and yes, it's coarse and rough and irritating, and gets everywhere, you'll find a galaxy full of politics, pathos, and poetry. But I digress.
The Rambler Network.